Big is a 1988 American fantasy comedy film directed by Penny Marshall, and stars Tom Hanks as Josh Baskin, a young boy who makes a wish to be big and is then aged to adulthood overnight. The film also stars Elizabeth Perkins, John Hurd, and Robert Loggia and was written by Gary Ross and Anne Spielberg. The Thief of Baghdad is a 1940 British Technicolor Arabian fantasy film produced by Alexander Korda, and directed by Michael Powell, Ludwig Berger, and Tim Whelan, with contributions by Korda's brothers Vincent M. Zoltan, and William Cameron Menzies. Groundhog Day is a 1993 American fantasy comedy film directed by Harold Ramis, starring Bill Murray, Andie MacDowell, and Chris Elliott. It was written by Ramis and Danny Rubin, based on a story by Rubin. Harvey is a 1950 film based on Mary Chase's play of the same name, directed by Henry Koster, and starring James Stewart and Josephine Hull. The story is about a man whose best friend is a pika named Harvey so in the form of a 6-foot, 3.5-inch tall invisible rabbit. Field of Dreams is a 1989 American fantasy drama film directed by Phil Alden Robinson, who also wrote the screenplay, adapting W. P. Kinsella's novel Shoeless Joe. It stars Kevin Costner, Amy Madigan, James Earl Jones, Ray Liotta and Burt Lancaster in his final role. Miracle on 34th Street is a 1947 Christmas film written and directed by George Seaton and based on a story by Valentine Davis. It stars Maureen O'Hara, John Payne, Natalie Wood and Edmund Gwenn. The story takes place between Thanksgiving Day and Christmas Day in New York City, and focuses on the impact of a department store Santa Claus who claims to be the real Santa. King Kong is a 2005 epic monster film and remake of the 1933 film of the same name. Directed, co-written, and produced by Peter Jackson, it stars Naomi Watts as Ann Darrow, Jack Black as Carl Denham, Adrian Brody as Jack Driscoll and, through motion capture, Andy Serkis as the title character. It's a Wonderful Life is a 1946 American Christmas fantasy comedy drama film produced and directed by Frank Capra, based on the short story The Greatest Gift, which Philip Van Dorenstern wrote in 1939 and published privately in 1945. The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King is a 2003 epic fantasy drama film directed by Peter Jackson based on the second and third volumes of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. It is the third and final installment in the Lord of the Rings series, following The Fellowship of the Ring and The Two Towers. The Wizard of Oz is a 1939 American musical fantasy film produced by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and the most well-known and commercially successful adaptation based on the 1900 novel The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L.